I'm Avantika Dutt. I'm 9 years old. I study at International School Seychelles. Here's my amazing and hardworking team. Team Gender Inequality Primary. We have India Kaiwan from UAE, I Avantika Dutt from Seychelles, Baran Samri from Turkey, and Muhammad Ayub bin Ahmed from Maldives. Next slide, please. The topic that we're focusing on today is how gender inequality impacts climate injustice. Women and girls are at a higher risk of experiencing negative effects into this in much more detail below. Next slide, please. Topics to be covered. What is climate justice important for women and how are they impacted? How women could help combat the climate crisis. The climate crisis and gender inequality, two sides of the same coin. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges of our time. The impact of climate change is felt more by women, as they are at the receiving end in most cases, with low-income jobs, responsibility to look after dependents, lack of education, and thus lower prospects. Let's talk about some facts. Next slide, please. As per UNICEF, 1 in 4 girls drop out of secondary school. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Women earn 60% less than men on an average. Next slide, please. Globally, 31% of young women are not employed, educated, or trained, compared to 14% of young men. Next slide, please. Women of all ages are not supported around their feminine wellness needs, such as periods and giving birth. Adults and girls many times are shy and feel afraid to go to school because they feel insecure. This can impact their access to education. 1 in 9 people don't have clean water close to home, while 1 in 3 don't have a decent toilet or of their own. Without these basic amenities, menstruation can affect women's health, involvement in social and economic life. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. A large number of people exposed to climate or weather-related natural disasters experience stress and serious mental health consequences. Some natural disasters are possibly going to be more frequent because of climate change. All of this impacts mental health and women disproportionately more than men. Next slide, please. Women are more likely to die during natural disasters because they learn less life skills than the men do. Next slide, please. How does climate change impact women and girls? Next slide, please. Climate crisis threatens food security for women and girls. Next slide, please. As per UN, about 2/3 of the female labor force in developing countries and more than 90% in many African countries are engaged in agricultural work. With climate change, traditional food sources are becoming more unpredictable and scarce. Women face loss of income as well as harvests. Related increases in food prices make food more inaccessible to women and girls. Next slide, please. How women could impact climate change. Women can share ideas, innovations such as filtration and sanitation systems, and contribution to the solution and work partnership. Women are better leaders in terms of crisis. Climate change impacts everyone, but not equally. 100% of the population needs to be involved. Women have a bigger influence in the society and thus can really drive a big change in people's awareness on global warming and make a difference at grassroots levels. I will now hand it over to my teammate, Mohammed Ayub from Maldives.
Hello, it is Ayub from Maldives, and my first point is girls don't have as much access to education, nutritious meals, and healthcare. Gender inequality coupled with climate crisis is one of the greatest challenges in the world. Women and girls are more likely to be affected due to climate crisis in the areas of their education, career, health, and nutrition. During the period of drought, rainfall, and women struggle very hard badly to meet their necessities. Girls often leave school or drop out school to help their mothers manage the increased burden of child marriages also will be common because of this. Climate change increases the spread of vector-borne diseases in most countries. Women and girls are more likely to be affected due to climate crisis, climate change, and disasters due to inability of women to take wise and timely decisions, limiting access to service, health, relief resources, and training. Women eat least or last because of poverty. Women are neglected or she herself go behind during mealtime. It leads to the malnutrition and increase of risk of maternal death and child death. Empowerment of women through education is the only solution to upgrade women. Remember, a girl is a student, not a bride. My second point is climate crisis leads to the insecurities of women and girls. The effect of climate change on gender is not uniform. Most of the men's studies have proved gender inequality generally have a higher vulnerability to the negative impact of climate change and lower level of mitigation policies. This leads to the low income poverty, poor livelihood, and less access to education and career opportunity, especially for the feminine gender. So they are forced to migrate from their native place for education and in search of jobs, which in turn leads to their insecurity. Women have to work for low income. It is noticed that conflict related to sexual and other forms of violence associated with rescue processes are also common in rescue camps. Women and girls are the victim for sexual harassment. Child marriages also increase. Gender balances participation, women leadership organizations for women empowerment are my solution for the problem. Empowerment of women through education is the only solution for the upgradation of women. Make her strong and let she live. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Beren, I'm from Turkey. Let's start. Women and girls. Unfortunately, women and girls have little or no influence in global decision making. In general, women have a much more caring nature and would be a great asset when it comes to finding solutions to climate crisis. Women are not only caring but have great ideas too. It would be very helpful to increase the number of women in parliaments across the globe and encourage women and girls to become climate warriors. Next slide, please, Christy. Thank you. More women, hands on deck. If we can enable women to become part of the working force fighting climate change around the world, we will be able to increase the workforce by at least 50%. Women can be great thinkers and they should have equal opportunities with men to put their ideas into practice in the fight against climate change. Climate change affects 100% of the world's population, and it's important that all people are represented in the fight against climate change. That means that men and women should be considered equal when it comes to cleaning streets so that we can all be part of the climate action movements. Thank you, everyone.
Global warming is one of the leading causes and greatest contributions to the world hunger, malnutrition, exposure to disease, and declining access to water. Climate change affects the economic and social rights of countless individuals. This includes their rights to food, health, and shelter. As climate change will inevitably continue to affect humanity, a key UN priority is the safeguarding the human rights of people, women whose lives are most adversely affected. Women and girls' full and equal participation in decision-making process is a top priority in the fight against climate change. Without gender equality, today a suitable, more equal future remains beyond our reach. Thank you everyone for listening to our team presentation. We hope you all enjoyed it as much as we did making it.
Thank you, Primary 2, for this wonderful presentation.
Can I also speak?
Yes. Bhuvana, that's your name?
Just like a car cannot move forward if one set of wheels are not working, similarly, our society cannot also progress if women do not have equal opportunities as men have. It is always women and girls who are most affected by climate change. In a poor farming household, if there is no food because of floods and droughts, then the women remain hungry. When there is water scarcity, it is women who have to travel for long distances to collect water. Very often, places affected by climate change are very poor and girls do not get proper education. As a result, they cannot go for other jobs as well. Therefore, government should promote gender equality through proper policies. For this, we should have women in leadership positions so that they have a voice in the policies that affect them. The other thing I would like to speak about violence against women. When there's a poverty due to climate change, then the women are more vulnerable to violence from within their own family. They also find it difficult to rebuild their lives after a climate change disaster like a flood because they do not have access to loans and other forms of finance. They do not own any land, although they work in the land owned by men. Many women do not have access to good health care as well, and they will be affected by waterborne diseases after a natural disaster. If you are invisible in day-to-day life, then no one will remember you in a crisis. This is the sad state for women, but we need to change this. Give women education, food, clean water, ownership of land, and access to seed money. Always remember what you do may be a small drop in an ocean, but the ocean is richer by that drop. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhuvana, for your addition. Now we'll invite the judges if they have any questions for the team.
Hi, can I congratulate you on the fantastic research you've done to understand the problem fully? And I was very impressed with the broad spread of your arguments. Can I ask, how did you manage to bring those arguments together as a team? How did you decide which were the important issues? Avantika, please. Yeah.
With the issues, what we did was we looked like online, and we would together we discussed on with our only gender inequality our meetings. We would tell each other what we would say, and we would try to place them where we thought it would be good, and then we would keep on checking the finals every day and practicing.
Thank you. That's very interesting.
Chrysanthi, would you like to ask your question?
I think it was Lena before. Is it okay?
That's okay.
If
You have the floor.
Good.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So I would also like to congratulate you. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. And the remarks that Puvana said at the end with that drop in the ocean, that was really nice and interesting, very nice. And as Barry said, we really like the way you conducted your research. So I've seen a lot of data, a lot of figures. Could you please tell me, where did you find all these? I mean, it was something that you've seen in the library, or you have asked your teachers? I see Avantika, because you had at the beginning that those nice figures. Yes.
Well, I found some of those photos like on secondary school, and those ones I found them on like UNESCO, UNICEF, and WHO. I found some of those photos over there.
Mohammed, yes.
I got help from my teacher and my mom. They helped and supported me a lot.
This is really interesting. You know, at the beginning, thank you, both of you. I have seen that you had that UNESCO sign. So I just wanted to see whether you also got the information from there. And of course, everybody who's next to us, Mohammed, gives us very valuable information. So well done to this team as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chrysanthi. Lena, pass over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've learned a lot. I was taking some notes. And, it was really well presented and really clear. I was wondering, out of curiosity, when you were doing your research and preparing, did you find any example of some actions that an organization or a country is doing to promote gender equality, especially in relation to addressing the climate crisis, and you thought, oh, this is a good idea, and maybe other countries or other organizations should do the same? Did you find something like this? Okay, Vana, go ahead.
In India, there's Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao to educate girls.
Okay, thank you. What is it? Is it a program? Is it at school? How does it work? Can you tell me a little bit more?
Girls usually don't get education, so government is promoting education for girls.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much. Thank you. Avantika?
Yeah, I also found another example. It was in Seychelles, In December 2021, the president, Wilhelm Klavan, announced that sanitary products would be made available free of charge to all girls in both state and private secondary schools from January 2022, which was this year. He did that so because sometimes when they did not get the sanitary towels, they would have to skip school for a week and something like four days. So that's why he did not, because they would have missed like the
I think we have lost Avantika. You can write your answer in chat if that's easier for you as well.
But I got the idea, and it's very interesting. So thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, shall we move on to the next thing? Avantika?
Yeah, should I say my answer again?
I think I understood the idea to give free pads in order to avoid people missing school. So thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Eva, should we switch to the other teams now?